All right,
Discordies.
and we are live while you're saying Discordian, by the way.
Yeah, that's
Hello,
fine.
welcome.
Hello and welcome to Griffith's Pub. Tonight we're going to be discussing some preventative measures on avoiding interdiction with our special guest, Citizen Tech Talk. Welcome, Citizen. Or we're going to call you
And
CTT for short.
sounds good.
Could you give us just like introduce yourself and give us a brief history about your time as a content creator?
Sure. So I started off in 2015 with Star Citizen. 2016, I started doing content around the issues with the software development side of it. Obviously, the hardware relation to the software issues with dynamic server meshing becoming a thing, achievable.
Yeah.
Moved into then more dealing with community related issues and that at the same time. Got to, I think it was 2018, 2019, 2018, and I saw Con 2018, and I just went, okay, yeah, time to take a break. So because I was becoming a bit of a neg head myself
Yeah.
about the development, so I thought time to take a break. Then after that, very shortly after that, I got some work with Riot Games, dealing with Valorant. Anyway, moving forward to 6.5 years later, I'm back.
Okay.
So that's been my content journey as a YouTuber. Got subs, lost subs, obviously, because I changed subject matter. And now I'm back and we're growing again. So
Cool. Very cool. So recently we were having this conversation. Someone had brought up your video about, making interdiction practically obsolete. And it was a video that made its run through like our org Discord, and we talked about it. And we're just like, okay, we should have this guy on the show and just kind of discuss a little bit about this, because there was a few things I had questions about along with some of them. So I was just wondering if you'd be cool talking about that tonight.
yeah, so no problems at all.
Awesome. So what could players do with the information to prevent becoming a victim of interdiction and piracy, given like the context of your video? Like what kind of like a TLDR, like what exactly did you try to portray in that video?
Sure. Long story short, stealth gameplay and deep range space scanning abilities are going to be imperative to avoid a majority, not all, of interdictions. So the Herald is the ship that I've used as the metric, the meta, as people like to call it. I hate using that word. Because the Herald is going to have the scanning dish, obviously, for espionage purposes, stealing data from bases and NPC bases just digitally in Stratosphere. But there's a tier 5, I know, guys, but there is a tier 5 deep space. Um, it's a pulse scanning sonar, basically, attachment that sits onto the side of the ship and it looks quite out of place. That will give you scanning up to how many gigameters away of potential anomalies or enemies or ship types, or give you a heads up on a capital ship that you're wanting to scan from a long distance. It'll give you the specs and start giving you basic data about the ship's accompaniment equipment, its escort, etc., to be able to know how far you can get in before you can start doing that digital scanning. That's
Okay.
where I brought this in.
All right. So the Herald it has a scanning dish. I thought it was data running. That's why I was kind of curious about this one.
Yeah.
Data running, not
So
like necessarily like a scout, as in like a pathfinding, is I think what is used for like deep, like scanning for like certain like areas, like say the Hornet. Which Hornet variant is it? The Hornet Tracker or like the Invil
tracker.
Terrapin, things like that. Just kind of curious
Yeah.
about that.
This is the thing that most 99.8% of the entire community have overlooked the Herald forever. I bought it way back in the day because I did deep dive on it and I did research into its future capabilities, or its intended capabilities, should I say.
Okay.
And yeah, being able to use that scanning dish will allow you to also listen into base comms, listen into enemy troop movements, also be able to actually retract airwave data, however that's going to be transmitted in the game. And yeah, stealing blueprints, for example, that are stored on computers, on actual in bases, NPC bases, or player bases, home base, you should be able to and do that from stratosphere and get out of there before anyone knows it. And still, I don't know whatever tier blueprints they may be up to, maybe a tier 2 possibly. But with a tier 2, you can do further research towards tier 5 as well and accelerate your research progress. But more importantly, for the Herald, it's about seeing far further than anything else, have a stealth signature so you can go low IR. So as soon as you get that first blip, that there's something up in your quantum path ahead of you, you can then break quantum, get your first blips, and then focus in on your constant scanning and get more detailed understanding of the environment ahead of you. Tell the guys running a hull C or a hull E or hull D or a hull E, break, jump out the middle of nowhere. You've got your escort with you in tow because of the group jump, and that allows them to then go, okay, stop. And then the scanning unit in front, which is in this case the Herald, is going to be able to see much further forward, get detailed information in relation to whether it's just another cargo run, it's a failed interdiction or a one interdiction, and it's a derelict that we're going to come up on, and you guys have already moved on, and it's fine, we can just still jump through, to then just save that cargo, because commodities obviously is where it's at. Rep running is just a waste of your time as pirates because it's SCU numbers connected to a box. There's nothing in the boxes, and they're
contracted cargo is just going to be it's a waste of time, and it actually really does kill like piracy just overall. It's not beneficial in any degree. Having some value like tied to it would actually be kind of cool, but right now it's just kind of, it feels like a really, I don't know, feels like a placeholder.
Great way of,
I get that.
Yeah, great way of getting crime stats for free, without any return on investment.
I'm always down for that though. I mean, crime stats are cool, right? They're always fun to rock.
Yeah, that's the
you
thing.
Grab the cargo, right? Then you can like hold it, ransom because it affects someone's like reputation. That honestly, you could do that.
That's the
suddenly
other side
you're
of that
you're like in a
flip.
bad spot with Redwind because you lost your cargo. You got to talk to that person that stole your cargo. So maybe that's a workaround. I don't know. People really don't look that much into it, but maybe at some point it'll be that detrimental. I don't know. That's a lot of theory crafting. So what can I say?
Yeah, totally. The flip side of that, so the flip side of that would be that they won't lose rep. They can just simply abandon the mission and pay a fine of 5,000 UECs. It's really not detrimental to the cargo runner because they can just pay the 5,000 UECs and then get the mission again and just run it again. You guys cop, a three or four level crime stat and no way of getting those commodities turning into UECs either. And you have a huge amount of cargo boxes floating around in space. It just wouldn't be profitable. Commodities. That is where you're going to make a massive amount of money, especially in Pyro with things like, not weevil eggs anymore as such, but what's the new one? Detranium or something? The stuff that blows up. Those ones, that's the new current popular fad at the moment.
Are you talking about you get that during the supply and demand or whatever, supply and cry? I don't remember what it's called. Just something like that, right?
Supply and cry.
Yeah, right.
Supply and cry, right?
Yeah, it was not a. Yeah, so that stuff, right? That and would be the Valakar pearls, right? And people will run them. They'll kill the Valakar in groups. They'll get the pearls on board and the teeth, and then that's going to be your I'm set for a month as an org win for interdiction and obviously stealing all of their stuff or just getting on board their hull C and killing their pilot and stealing their ship with all the stuff on it. That's where you're going to make your billions. If it's just rep running around Stanton, just don't waste your time, guys. It's just literally wasting your time. Yes, the practice is good. It's good to practice if that hull C has an escort. And there's our first problem. If.
Yep. So that was actually one thing on your video that I really do agree with is it seems like there's a lot of people that don't they're soloing it, and that's not the right call because you need to have some kind of escort fighter or something along the lines, right? That's the one thing that I was looking at the video. Can we actually bring up the media panel? And that's actually something that you bring up a few times. Actually, is like don't do it alone. Make sure you have an escort fighter. And actually, the scouting is actually a really good idea. But again, I don't understand the herald. Like I know, so I'm looking at this. This maybe isn't the best example, but we've got the herald here. It says the Drake Herald is a small armor designed to safely get information from point A to point B. Featuring a powerful central engine, advanced encryption software, and an armored computer core. So it sounds like it's just for transporting data, not necessarily like for scanning. But again, this is theory crafting. I don't know. Like we have this whole part that on the side will open up, become like an array. And even scanning gameplay, you look at that and it really isn't even flushed out. You know, like you look at like anything from like the Terrapin to like any of the pathfinding ships, those scouting capabilities, radar's not there, pathfinding's not there. But as far as I know, this is not a pathfinder. It's a data runner, no different than like say the MSR. And I don't know that this would be my first choice for scouting, just because if you go over here, I've actually put together like a quick stealth build from what do you call it? This is Urkel.games. If you haven't used this resource before, it is
Well, wait,
fantastic.
hold on. What would be your first choice for scouting?
I would either use like a Talon, Hornet Ghost, Razor EX, something that actually has like stealth capabilities, and then use that as
the
your
herald
forward
does.
fighter. You know,
The herald is a stealth data runner, medium data runner.
What does it look like when you set up as a stealth?
Okay, so this is stealth right now. We've got 3.5, 4.3, but imagine that you're coming out of nap mode. This is what it's going to be when you're out of nap mode. 11.5 kilometers.
I know we did this a while ago.
Yeah.
But what is the? I think the Talon
You're
is
going to be
up
a
with a
Christmas
small
tree.
signature.
The Talon, I can bring that up. Even stock with like the components that it has, the Talon is in a great spot. Actually, that would actually be my suggestion.
So
just because
CTT. So your suggestion for the Herald is also because of its ability to move, to push quickly through, right? Like get out of the dangerous situation quickly in a straight line.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not doing a lot of turns with it.
No, that thing will black out in.
That one actually. So that actually raises another question. When you're being interdicted, so the way that works is it will flag up that there's a quantum interdiction event, right? The person that's snaring is going to see that. Their party is already going to have that set up. So there's going to be a dampener and there's going to be an interdictor. So there's snaring and then there's dampening. Two different phases entirely. They're going to set it up so where they're trying to snare from, they're going to dampen at the same time. The SEM speed on the, what do you call it? The Herald, when it's boosted, I think it's not going to be fast enough.
What is it?
It will.
What is it?
I forget what it is, but it's, yeah.
So
let me see if I can find it.
While you do that, so as you know, there's there's a flight model rework getting done just for 1.0. CIG have officially said that now. So all of these ships are going to have hybridized SCM nav. No more separate SCM or nav. You're going to be able to get the full use of the ship again, like we used to have, at your own disposal and be able to just switch quantum on and off. That's the way these ships should have been, and then flight models should have always stayed. Because of OCS and lack of dynamic server meshing, we can't do that yet.
Can I jump into you mentioning that? So, because I haven't looked into it, but is it still going to be that you lose your shields, you still have your weapons, but it's like that hybridizes? It's like you get
you lose your shields, but you keep your like countermeasures and weapons.
So they're still doing that.
The dampening still has the effect though.
Okay, so
dampening still does what it's supposed to. So it'll still force you into SEM mode. That isn't changing as far as we know. But again, CIG sometimes doesn't even know what they're changing. So that's a really
that's what I mean
in the first place.
That's what I meant by the SCM. It allow you to get full range of SCM, not the lockdown version we've got now of 280 or whatever it is.
What's the full range of SCM?
1,000, I think 1,012.
Really?
So yeah. So and with boost, right?
That's
so
boost. What's the fastest range? Hang on, let me find this. I'm trying to find the stats.
It's extremely fast. It is literally a pocket rocket. So
Yeah, but I know that the Mantis is also pretty fast, if I remember. I wish I had these.
yeah, the Mantis.
River.
So,
I'm buying
Mantis?
the Herald after this now. Shut up. What do you mean
Don't
buying?
listen
You
to me.
already bought it. You
He already
spelled
has it.
bought incorrectly.
Okay, here it is. Fastest in here. I got it. So 600 in boosted, 1400
600.
when it is in nav. That's what I got.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
let's switch over. I'm
Okay,
gonna bring
so
up another tab.
I'm
Go for it,
so sorry
Alpha.
that I am so ignorant as to how this is, because I never know what to take from them. So
I know.
are
Yeah,
we
I get
going
it.
to get access up to the full boosted amount where it's not going to draw us back to
Do we know? Do
unboosted,
they
or
know?
Yeah.
That's the real question.
is it going to stay to the highest level? Let's say if you're, or is it just going to stay to 600 until you run out of boost? And then it's going to
Okay,
continue doing what it does
so
now. That's what I wonder what they're going to do.
here's what I want to just highlight right here.
Yeah.
So oh, excuse me, sorry, coughing still because a little bit sick. It does have a slower now speed, but it's just a slight bit faster with that forward like boost. So it is going to be about. It's going to be very circumstantial.
Oh
The
yeah.
Mantis
Yeah.
could still get snared in, and it's just going to be lit up by like any support fighters at that point, or even missiled to death.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if
So
it's my first choice.
yeah, so the whole thing is the whole purpose of this deep space scanning pulse scan attachment, which sticks out basically like a big arm, and it comes out with the pulse scanner on the end. There's images all over the net for it. But back in the day, when the Herald first came out and came out of grey box, they had already spoken about future attachments like the deep space scanning pulse scanner, low tech scanner, as well as the satellite dish, which you can still get now as a 1.0. It'll be just scanning dish. So when those attachments come in, it will allow for the Herald to not even have to worry about an interdiction, because while you're in quantum, if you're running that deep space sonar, basically, it'll pick up way ahead of any interdiction radius for snare or for what do you call it? A trap, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Snare.
Yeah. Snare,
Okay.
right. So it'll be way out of your guys, even your guys' sensor range. So it will be able to break quantum, stop the following, cargo and escort, for example, or fuel and escort, whatever, and be able to then stop the jumps in situ. So obviously Herald's going to be halfway further down that quantum path. Then it's going to then go break, do a quick minute, because you're in the middle of nowhere in space. Nobody is going to jump in on you, hopefully. There is a chance, though, guys. There's just luck and bullshit. So, it's a Star Citizen, so who knows? But yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah, right. But if you scan long enough, you'll get more of a detailed image, right? And that image will start developing, and then you'll start seeing all the feedback on your right-hand monitor on your actual dash of your ship, giving you telemetry, probably in writing, of what it's detecting. And possible this, possible that, and then confirm this, confirm that. So that's the whole thing. If you're going to be a smartass and a Herald and have already sent your other guys on a completely different quantum path to work around those jump points, obviously to a planet, to back to the location you're trying to designate as your end location, you could go in with like a U-turn and boost back out, come back in, and you could be that annoying fly, right? Distracting those pirates to think, oh, okay, this guy's playing cat and mouse, but where's his cargo? Where's his cargo escort? Where are they? So you guys are going to be thinking twice, three times, oh, is he just playing us for a fool? Is he playing cat and mouse? Is he literally just trying to size us up to see, like, can our escort come in ahead of that cargo and take on you guys and knock you guys out so then cargo can continue through? Could be a fuel related issue as well. Not for obviously the staff errors, but for Hull C running low on quant because they're greedy, and that's the big thing here. and they can only finish this quantum jump. So can the escort knock out, even in an interdiction environment, and a herald come in and create enough of a diversion to draw, heavier fighters away. So then the escort can focus just on the mantis to start with, and then try to just, force it through with the hull C. All of those kind of gameplay contingencies will come into play. And it comes down to obviously equality of pilot. More importantly, the advanced capabilities of stealth fighters, right? Yes, the Talon's great, the Saber's great, the Ghost is great, but their scanning range is garbage compared to what the Herald will have. Herald is a stealth ship. It is a stealth B class, data runner, as well as, espionage
It
ship,
doesn't have
basically,
any
once it's
signature
fully...
modifiers though for stealth. So does it really actually qualify as a stealth ship? I'm
Hang
looking
on.
at this. So this is the modifiers right here. So just looking, this is like a data, and again, can all change in the future because this is a ship that hasn't seen like a gold
Yeah,
in the past.
yeah.
But in the
Realistically,
current state,
anything could change, right?
yeah, and that's why I'm not like saying, oh, this is wrong, this is right, because it's such an environment that can change at a moment's time, like between like one patch to the next. There could be like a meta shift that quick, but I'm just not seeing it. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the EM. This is base Herald. I know it does have some like base stealth components. Even with the stealth components, it's still like a good, like healthy 10, 11 kilometers. And when someone's scanning, especially pirates, because they're very smart with this kind of thing, they're going to be looking for that ping. They're going to be traveling right for it. If you send in a scout like that, they're going to get torn up. They're not even going to get like within a few meters of the snaring mantis or the dampening mantis.
What do we?
Especially with
Okay.
like the turn rate,
So
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but
Oh, can you hear me? So just out of curiosity, what if we were to compare it to like a razor? Like, what would?
Oh, Razor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me bring that up. I've got the Talon here if you want to use that one instead. That is.
Well, no, because
also
isn't the
stealth.
razor actually very hard to see still?
It is, yeah.
It's a racing ship, right? So it's very fast.
Yeah, let me bring that.
What would be the advantages and disadvantages to that? Is what I'm wondering.
So using like say a Razor EX.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, guys. Same modifiers.
And it's like,
Excuse me,
and so,
holy shit.
and I don't want, and I definitely am not gonna. Well, I'm not discrediting anything at all, to be honest. But I wouldn't discredit anyone's plans, because it's a lot of. Sometimes it's like you look at the numbers, but when you put it into practice, things change, right?
I mean,
just quickly, I shared a picture of the Herald at tier 5.
Okay, just give me a sec. Is this from the concept or something else? This almost, I can't tell if it's like fan drawn.
Oh,
or
we
if it's
just
actually,
lost
like,
him. No,
did we?
yeah, we
Give it
lost
a
the
sec.
video. Yeah, the video just dropped.
Give him a sec. Rogan.
This is why I keep arguing that this. Whenever we do this, it should just be me. No, I'm kidding. It should
So
just be
back to
my
the-
face. Like, I don't. Why do we need other faces when you have my face? Sorry, that was a moment of narcissism. Excuse me.
Yeah. I hear you. Let me bring up the picture, just so we have
There we
that
go.
as a visual. It will just be a sec.
CTT, if you could bring your video back up when you get a chance.
Yeah, in the process.
No problem.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thank you. Okay, let me bring up that image that you want to share. It'll just be a sec. So this is what you were sharing via Discord. I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can visually see that a little bit better. I'm apparently enhance. Just give it a sec. So,
Enhance.
Fire graph for the Herald.
So is this like a fan made one, or is this one from the original concept? Is this one?
Yeah,
that I
original
can find on-
concept.
where can I find that on this page? Is this something like I've seen the panels opening? Like it used to have a button where all of the panels would open around it.
That's right.
I do remember
So
that.
the roof opens up for your data scanning, data stealing dish, and that big attachment on the side's not obviously the most recent picture. See,
Look
that's
at this. Oh, hang on. Is this what you're talking about right here?
yes. And see on this side, on the left hand side, that's your pulse sonar. So that's the thing, right? So the Herald has been the best kept secret for anti-piracy since the 2015.
So should I be using it
when
right now?
No, it's not
Okay.
fully active.
Okay. So what you're so first of all,
This is like encrypted
you're kind
data.
of
I
throwing
thought
it
this
back
was
in
for
the
like
face of the viewers that were like, sounds like a lot of tinfoil hat. It looks to me like he's basing this on some evidence, right? I don't know why it would be useful. Okay, so I'm gonna give that to him.
Let me bring this up. Okay.
Guys, you guys are trying to you guys are griefing him. I see it. I
This-
see it.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool.
you're-
Honestly, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So that's to
So-
so that
But
is
these
that
are all
like an
concept.
original intended purpose of
how
the
many-
Herald to begin with?
How many of the
Yep.
ships have like
Wow.
So the
changed
Herald
from concept
has
to like actual like
all
release,
of them.
you know?
All of them except for the Hornet. It's the only thing that hasn't changed. So the Herald was launched as a stealth, medium, and
Oop, you're in and out.
ship
Yep.
in the game, and I think it still is to date. It is there to specifically get in, do espionage, steal data, run data to the highest bidder. So this is actually very much a smuggling ship. This is not a dedicated stealth. It's not dedicated piracy. It's not dedicated corporation ship. This is a smuggling ship. And this is stealing data from one entity and selling it to another one at the highest possible price to the highest tender.
So
Let's
That's
pause right
what
there.
this ship
Pause right
does.
there. Pause right there. Stealing data. That's all it does. It doesn't actually gather data. It steals data. It's a
Yeah.
hacking ship. It's not intended for pathfinding. So it's
No.
not going to grab all of this data from like an external source. It's going to grab it from like either some kind of like server or an existing system. It's not going to create new data. That's the difference.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, base scanning sonar, that's part of the ship getting in and out, right? Is its stealth capabilities that it's meant to have. It used to have. It's always had until recently, obviously. It's there to get in, find the enemy way ahead of its scanning range, be able to get in quietly and do its job. That thing is an aluminium tin can. Yeah. So if that was bright on radar and it was easy to see, it'd be useless. So the whole idea of this pulse scanning sonar is to find everyone ahead of you, find a scanning range and sit just outside of it. And your data transfer rates, obviously, the closer you are to the source is going to be faster. Or if you're way further away, much slower, just like shitty internet.
Okay. So I have a question though. Is that still intended for the Herald, or is that just like an old concept that they kind of threw away? That's
Yeah, how
I
many
mean,
ships have
what-
changed from like concept to actual release? You know,
That's what
like
I'm
the
curious
original
about.
like Redeemer had like, you know, so many intended plans, and then when it actually like came into fruition, you saw how much it changed, you know? I like how,
The
by the way, I
Redeemer
like
was
the
a
numbers
fan
on the
art
sides,
thing
like
to
it's
start with.
hacking the fucking
Yeah.
IP address of like, you know, probably auto tracker or something, who knows?
It is purely an espionage ship. That's its whole entire intended purpose, because you've got your large size scanning data ships, but they're carrying massive amounts of communications data and screenshots of, you know, locations of points of interest throughout the universe. They're a commercial ship. This thing is very niched, and this is the thing. It's got put on the back burner and put on the back burner and put on the back burner so many times, but the whole purpose of this ship is to get in quiet, quick, get it not be detected. Because if it is,
I'd argue that it's been put in the back burner so much because they don't see a way of making money off of it.
oh
see
yeah, of
that.
course. Well, it is. It's the wild card of Star Citizen. And if you
Yeah.
get the right pilot
Yeah.
in that seat and the right data collector sitting in the terminal behind him, you can make squillions of UECs without doing a single thing.
Where's it say pulse?
So
scanner?
it
That's what I'm trying
scans
to
for
find.
IP. So was it made by Griffinet? Sorry.
Probably.
Where does it say the
this-
pulse scanner? I wish that I had more information on
Yeah.
this. You know,
I know that they've changed the web page for an RSI about 16
yeah.
times. And, you know, that's obviously maybe a bit of a far stretch of numbers, but that many times, you just lost count. And it started off, this is how the Drag Herald first started off. Medium dark to medium. Dra-
Wait,
deep
we keep
space.
losing you.
Yeah, the audio just is cutting in and out. Sorry, bud.
Try
Test,
push.
test.
Could you try push to talk? Maybe it's the.
I think it is just, to be honest with you, Discord. Discord
Okay.
has always hated my computer.
Yeah, no, totally understand. It's all good.
So
To
I'll
be
try it.
fair,
Hang on.
Discord is trash.
Yeah,
It
at least
is.
his
It's
cameras
most-
work.
Sorry.
So the camera's working still, yeah?
Yep, camera's fine.
This guy sounds like he's
good.
making stuff up for what he wishes would happen. Oh, he's basing it on. He's basing it on what it was originally meant to be, right?
And it still
And
can
what they
be.
haven't done with it yet, or supposedly this. It's not to cast doubt on what you're saying, but like allegedly what they plan to still do, but who knows? You know what I mean? Because it's freaking CIG. All right. I mean, a lot of things have changed. Hey, Rocco's still rocking the hexagon on Twitch.
Yeah, I
Look
saw
at
that.
that. Oh, who is that? Grim 42.
Grim 42? That's what I heard. So I don't know. I've got some doubts on that one, but I don't know. I don't want to get like too stuck on this and just make it like a whole back and forth. Like we're not necessarily going to agree on this until like
Basically,
CIG
what I'm
actually.
saying is,
Yeah.
basically what I'm saying on this, just to wrap this part of the conversation up, because, you know, we're all getting a bit over it. And we don't want to cast versions and things like that. In a nutshell, the Herald did start off as a stealth hunter ship with deep space scanning to avoid any contact with anybody, get the job done, get out, sell that data to whoever wants to buy it. I'm sure that will come back in, but it'll come back in more subtly.
Which data is it selling though? That's the
Yeah,
question that
I would
need
probably
to, like,
agree.
go back on.
It would be a more subtle introduction, due to the fact that it's not really something they can make a huge amount of cash or funding from, right? So that's something that's probably in the back burner, like the what's the other one there, the Banu Merchantman, for example. They made their money. It's like, but they ain't actually building it at this point.
No,
just lots of empty promises and beautiful styling, and no way of getting your cargo in and out really easily. Awesome.
Syntium, yeah, pretty much. 2 years out. Don't worry about it, guys. I'm sure it'll be just
I mean,
fine.
so honestly, I've never liked the Herald. I think the Herald was so dumb. The first time I ever saw it was the dumbest.
Is it because it looks like a butt plug?
But
is that what you're trying to tell me?
It looks like something that you might find in like your grandmother's drawer that you don't want to find. But no, but I mean, in all seriousness though, like the concept of what I'm hearing and seeing here, I would love to see that in the game. You know what I mean? I don't think many people would like I think the more complex things get, the better, in my personal opinion, you know.
It's a bad dragon opportunity.
So the whole thing is, right, they're trying to suppress the whole espionage and hacking thing until base building's done. They want to be able to bring in the game mechanic first to make sure that the base building works.
Yeah.
Then we've got, don't forget, you've got planetary bombardment defenses. You've got base-based defenses, you know, turrets and AA turrets and stuff like that. So they want to, I think, get all that right. Then once everything settles down around base building, then they'll bring in the entire of the espionage gameplay loop last. Because look, espionage can make or break an org.
Yeah.
And that's true. We've already got into orgs.
I mean, that is true. Yeah, we've seen it. I think we've seen how that can have a pretty serious effect in general through meta gameplay, right?
Yep, the old cult that I made sure with CIG's, a lot of CIG's help, got shut down because it was getting bad. There was actually a cult of Star Citizen Church, guys.
That's great.
Isn't that just called Spectrum?
no, that's with the autistic people, isn't it? I'm sorry, I didn't say anything.
Look, it's all right. I'll laugh at it. I don't care. Dead though.
It's fine. I'm not saying anything.
Dead is like.
So yeah, we're just gonna keep moving on. So, what was I gonna say? we broke down kind of the stats on everything. So what are like, say we don't have this available right now. If this is going to be the silver bullet somehow, or the like silver dildo in space, whatever you want to call it, what are we gonna? No, I mean that's the whole A. We all know that. How are we gonna make this viable? Like, you're talking about like dog legging or like staggering your jumps. That's one method. Like, what other preventative measures that you could put a player take to protect themselves from interdiction? I cannot read or talk, apparently.
Okay. So other methods can be simply using your brain, but common sense. So if you have overheard on comms chatter in game, from proximity chat, or more importantly in global chat, I just got interdicted going from here to here. Don't go down there. Go a different path to start with. Zigzag if you have to. Just people need to not be so greedy and be more needy to get their cargo to their location or their
Yep.
fuel. Look, honestly, guys, piracy are going to be all about.
Wait, all about
Guys
what?
are
I'm
gonna-
sorry, we lost that. All about what? Piracy is going to be all
sorry.
about what?
Yeah, so a lot of your piracy gameplay is going to be focused around hijacking fuelers, right?
No,
Quantum
yeah,
fuel
okay.
is going to be a massive commodity, and that's just that. That's how it is. So if you guys can focus on catching who you can, the high quality commodity runs, and the idiot greedy morons who are trying to solo it, or go, brute force, try to get through the blockade basically and get nailed by you guys. That's your bread and butter. And that's going to be, look, about 80% of the player base for at least the first 5 years after release.
I really
Why?
hope.
Because
Oh, go ahead. Continue. I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna continue.
why? Because people are not willing to understand how to play microphone. Is that still working for you guys?
It was in and out again.
Yeah, I'm getting the connect disconnect. I don't know what's going on.
It's a
So
regional
long
thing with
Is it?
Discord
has to
that
be.
sometimes happens. Yeah, it's out of his control and ours.
So long story cut short, people are not willing or wanting to learn how to play Star Citizen correctly, even to this day. And that's the problem, is we are at that point now, just before 1.0, fingers, eyeballs, toes crossed, pubes crossed, everything crossed, that once 1.0 hits, all these orgs are going to want to just start training people because the game works, right? Problem is, no one's going to want to do that, are they? They're going to want to play, and they're going to make these stupid mistakes because they have no training, they have no common sense, and they do not understand the very basis of how.
Yeah. I think a large majority of people, yes, you're right. They're probably just people don't like to go in and actually learn the mechanics completely, right? They just want to go in and pretend they know. So you're definitely right about that. There obviously will be the outliers that will actually, like, you'll have the people that actually will get trained, will actually be willing to learn, but it's probably like 98% of the community will be out there just, throwing darts at a dartboard with a blindfold on, basically.
Yep.
Rocco's comment. I'm just reading that.
You don't ever learn to play Star Citizen. You learn how to quit playing Star Citizen.
Damn.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So just a
Well-
reminder, if anybody also wants to join us as a live caller, we will be open up in the Discord. You can click on that link there and come join us if you have questions. We're going to try and keep it short, just because I know that, we're getting a little bit late there. So just want to be, mindful of that as well.
There were some
But,
funny comments in here. The answer is get good.
Yeah. Go ahead. And
Special
check that out.
snowflakes hang out in Spectrum.
Um,
Nolat was asking, do you think that the Mantis will get scanning as well?
Yeah, it will. It definitely will.
Yeah. Okay.
See, the Mantis is okay. So if you look at actually a Mantis in real life, right, its eyes are its scanners. The ship has to also have scanning capabilities. It has to.
Is that based on logic? Is that why is that what the answer you're basing on logic? Because I don't think CIG always follows logic.
No, but what I mean is, right, so all ships are going to have a constant scanning mode, right, and a pulse scan, right? So the whole idea of the Mantis is you need to be able to position your one in the right place in the. Secondarily, you want to have a large scanning range so you can get that lead time to interdiction as well. So to press the button, right, at the right second, to have that pre-knowledge from the scanning radius outside of your interdiction radius is going to be imperative. Otherwise, chips are just going to get getting through, right? So they have to make the Mantis even more dangerous than it already is. And that scanning radius outside and a larger bubble will give you that lead time, especially if there's, so CRG have to account for lag. They have to account for, a regional ping. They have to account for all those things. So if they're giving you the opportunity to have that scan radius outside of your interdiction radius, quite large, at least another 100 kilometers or, I don't know, one right? Then got time. Say over comms, guys, right, incoming. And then boom, you can get ready. Just have your fingers sitting on that key or on your trigger on your joystick, ready to send the pulse, right? The snare. And that's just got to be part of how the Mantis works. And this is why with the Herald, it's counterpart, it's nemesis in that respect. And both are going to be playing that very fine game between distance of each other's detection ratios, right? I'm sure the Herald will probably have the same scanning radius as the Mantis, or with the Tier 5 upgrade later on, then you'll have the opportunity to do the deep space pulse scans and et cetera, so forth. But it's a Tier 5. And God, getting blueprints from what it sounds like, and they can continue to reiterate, guys, is going to be. So the Herald stealing data, a bunch of other cool stuff. But when it comes down to the Mantis and, avoiding interdiction, the Herald has to be Tier 5 because of its scanning capabilities. And it's how it is.
I'm just looking at this. There was a question actually. How does this pulse scan work into the two types of scanning they talked about in 2023? ANS was 12 months away. I'm not sure what ANS is. Maybe it's maybe it could and was 12 months away.
And it's 12 months away.
That's a really good question. Again, that is one of those things where does it fit into the future vision CAG and how much things have been shifting.
How does
right?
this pulse scan work into two types of scanning they talked about in 2023 and was 12 months
Oh,
away?
right.
Probably during SICON, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And you're meaning that that's your standard scan that all ships can do, and then your consistent scanning. Constant scanning is more for ground-based miners as well as escorts or scout ships to fly over the surface of the area and obviously continue to scan and be able to find minerals and their qualities and quantities within the rocks and so on for the miners. In space, it's more of police ship play where you you do a traffic stop in space, right? And then you do a scan and a full ordnance loadout scan of the enemy ship or the person you've pulled over. It's going to be quite limited.
Sorry.
Good one, no lat.
Yeah. I told that one. Yeah, he stole that one from me.
Oh, has he?
I told that one to River last night when we were playing the game.
I'm so disappointed. There will be two types of scanning. One will be quick and be the quick scan, and the other will be the charge scan.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the charge scan is the consistent scanning, what they call consistent scanning now. And the pulse is just the pulse quick scan.
Okay. Oh my God.
All right. I think the pulse scan is still just for stealing data, not for gathering external sources of data, such as environmental data. I think there's ships that are dedicated for that specifically. And again, that role is pathfinding. That is your scout role, not necessarily your data runner. Data runner, that would be saying the MSR has bigger capabilities than the Herald. At that point, we should be running MSRs before every like interdiction at that point, right? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No,
That's just
the Herald fits
that's where I
into
come with
the
it.
espionage gameplay loop. Yeah.
And this is
We,
where the Herald would fall as well, right?
by the
Like
way,
it's for espionage. We do have easy, yeah, as I saw.
oh, okay.
Do you mind if we take live callers? Is that cool? We'll get into that. Terrapin as well. Yeah, that's one that comes to mind.
I just
one that can,
feel like
produce
Toon will have some pretty good questions.
He will, yeah,
and
yeah.
points.
Okay. Hey, what's up, Toon? How you doing?
Hello, hello, hello. How you guys doing?
Good to see you. Good. How are you?
What's up? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
And silence falls across the chat.
We can hear you. What's your question,
All
man?
right. Not much.
Or
No,
questions?
it was definitely saw the video. Your video on CTT on the using the potato and using it as a to trick or basically blockade running. But I wanted to kind of I guess bring up the fact that at least in the original brochure when CIG brought it out, they actually they used the FTL courier services, which I also thought was funny back then. But this is basically just a bicycle courier service in space, right? Like the whole idea is at least according to CIG, which I've been known to critique them a lot on every time they come up with this awesome idea in our heads and how it actually plays out. The idea is rather than you sending your very critical data into the internet of the game, you pay someone to come pick up that data, put it into data pods physically, and transfer them from place to place. The other part of that is that in that same brochure, that actually showed that when everything is open, that is actually a broadcast array that it's supposed to use for when it's in danger. When the ship is actually in danger, it turns itself into a comm array. And it basically says, I need help, here's where I'm at. And that's what it does that whole array for. At least again, if we're going off of what CIG said, it's literally a really fast traveling comm array. That's what that is. And the pulse is supposed to pick up data, not ships. Right?
Yeah. So but the side tier 5 attachment, that will scan. It'll have to scan. Because keep in mind, that ship is a tin can, right? It gets hit a couple of times, it'll blow up. If you've got data on there, that data's worth, hundreds and millions of UECs to the right buyer. So there's going to need to be some kind of way that ship's going to be able to protect itself or at least identify. So the comm array comes out of the roof, yeah, but the side attachment, that's your pulse scan, right? That's your sonar to be able to detect any threats in a radius around your ship. Now, however, that is going to be how, many meters or gigameters or whatever. But
yeah,
gigamummies.
Yeah, but this is
I didn't know you were going to say that.
again,
that ship's ability.
I get that, but I'm trying to understand at least, and mind you, it's just because I don't get the correlation between what you're saying and what CIG is saying. Like either we're filling in what we think it's gonna do, which is fine, right? We all sit here and we put on our tinfoil hats and we love to think about what we could possibly do with the ship. But based off of what CIG is saying, this ship isn't even supposed to travel on its own. I mean, I remember specifically, I think it was that it says like you could get like different tiers of services for your data courier, and premium protection is a Herald plus.
That's all over now.
Okay.
That's all over now. Yeah.
Okay.
They've dropped that completely from the game. And I know. Courier services are more relegated to your Titan, your Black, or your looted as a gameplay loop now. And yeah, I think it's stupid because getting into cargo, right? Because I did Master Cargo, I've maxed out Master Cargo. Don't bother doing it. It's a waste of time. Go to Senior at most. What I learned is to get started in cargo, you need to have a Titan to do the courier missions, right? But then the whole courier mission gameplay just dissolves after that, and you've got to go straight to a bloody Connie Taurus. You can do, Freelancer Max, obviously, right? You've got to use that as the interim ship to get enough of the low-level contracts done to get into a Connie Taurus.
They want
but then from there in, right? So the courier thing has just gone from being a full-on inter UEE space Terra, Terra Sol, Stanton, as well as what's the bloody news?
The what?
The new
Sorry,
planets. When we
cut
get
out.
the first 5, starts with C, doesn't it? Got Nyx, Pyro, Terra, Stanton, and what's the other bloody planet? The old military base one
I don't remember.
on Xi'an
Castro.
space.
Castro, that's it.
Castra. So Castra, right? So those courier services would be fantastic for that because you'd be passing around Xi'an movements on the border of UEE and Xi'an space, right? You'd pass around criminal movements and piracy movements to the PvE players as well as NPCs on your news boards throughout the cities, right? You've got the Orison, welcome to Orison, come to Orison, right? That audio that you hear on all the space stations near usually the armor shops. Breaking news, piracy has just Castra's western side and taken out 3 mining bases or something like that. That'll be your courier news service, right? That's what it was meant to be. Player-driven economy, where in this case, the Herald was going to play that role as a news service, a herald, right? We've got a newspaper in Australia called The Herald. No joke. So it was meant to be a commercial data news transfer ship and obviously a ship to make some money with some smuggling and espionage on the side. Courier has been completely removed from the game, basically.
But the data that we're talking about is not exploration. We're talking about like data is in like information that's been transferred, like resources, like intel, stuff like that. Not necessarily like information from your environment. That's what I've been like trying to say there. You know, like that's where the Herald isn't useful. It doesn't have those scanning capabilities. It's intended for something completely different.
I think they're using the Herald. I think they named the ship in its literal term. It's a messenger. It's a secure messenger. And the courier service that it provides cannot be offset by that of a starter ship. I mean, it's supposed to. Obviously, the gameplay doesn't exist, right? This is where the whole tinfoil hat thing comes into play.
True.
The data running doesn't exist. The ship is designed to protect itself against being data scanned. That's what it literally combats the MSR. That if we want to go into the whole idea of what the game loop looks like and what this thing is going to do, it's super powerful against EMPs and supposedly can't be shut down because it's EMP shielded. It has an armored computer core. This thing is like it's a tank against, I don't know, the data combat, whatever the hell that looks like. But it's just supposed to go fast in a straight line and outrun blockades. And its whole point is to not, if it's in trouble, it runs away and it sends out a massive signal saying, I'm in trouble, come get me. And it starts pinging itself based on CIG, based on all
like
the
an
information
SOS.
CIG.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That's all it does.
not necessarily ping itself, but it this is where I think we've got a bit of grey area going on. CIG have caused this, obviously, for all of us. The whole comma ray thing is to act as a broadcast station in case a comma ray goes down. The Herald can fly out and can perform a civilian service as a replacement comma ray for all the media and commercial stuff, right? And then they get paid per hour or whatever it is, per credit, per hour of time spent backup array while the so that's a bit different. Head away and you bleeping out your coordinates and location, and that would be crazy. That would be absolute suicide. You can quite easily send out a emergency signal, digitally encrypted, to your recipients in the good guy side and block the bad guys.
But you wouldn't do that because that's the whole point of this ship, which the pirates would also have, including the MSR. That's actually what that data dish in the front and that pulse is supposed to do. It's supposed to pick up that information. the whole point is I can go fast in a straight line. Again, I'm just theory
Hmm.
crafting because CIG doesn't give us a lot to go on. I have 1400 meters per second or 600 in SDM boosted of forward speed. Someone come help me. Here I am.
That's not
Why
Right?
not
how the
just
ship
Like,
will.
you could just use Discord? Why not just use Discord? The
Yeah,
party
yeah, yeah.
chat.
That's not. There's no way. That's no, no. This is what I
I'm
mean.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
I
sorry.
get where you're coming from, mate. It's just that the whole thing is, as I keep saying, this is an aluminium tin can. It is not there to even run away. It is there to avoid. The body on that ship is just there to hold people inside it and to
so
hold that
so
computer
so
core
I,
in place.
so I'll ask the following question. If it's not meant to run away, why would it lead with it's a thruster attached to a tin can that can do 1400 meters per second and is considered one of the fastest ships in the game, if not to run
This
away?
is why the scanning matter, right? So if you get detected and you've just detected them, it gives you that lead time to get away from them before they can even get to you to get into quantum to leave.
Exactly.
It's as I say,
It's too much theory crafting, guys.
it's,
So
Yeah.
I wish that we had
well,
like concrete
that's how
data for this. You know,
though.
I know that is happening because it's
So
not though.
I've
Sorry.
said this
Yep.
before, but basically this game, though, it's all one big theory craft. So i-
True.
who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what we're getting? New flight model,
It's true.
maybe.
Yeah, we might
Yeah,
get
I
like
feel
something
like
actually working in.
I feel like the
Yeah.
flight model is like a new version of Windows, right? You can expect a new one every so often.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
Okay.
you know,
That's the
it's
thing.
it's
When the flight model changes, the whole game will change, guys.
yeah.
But yeah,
So I
and
mean,
then
it's
I
but
guess
For a positive
it's true.
manner.
Yeah, in this
We'll see.
situation, it's applicable too because I mean, it's a part of it is I think it changed the way you get away from situations because of the fact that like right now, for instance, you can't go over a certain speed when you're getting and addicted. So it's yeah. So
well,
it's
You
all just theory
remember
crafting.
when Master Modes first came out, and they didn't have a plan for interdiction, like maybe 1 or 2 months right before it changed. That's how like quickly things can change in this game, and that's why like I could say something, you could say something, but we just never know until they finally make their own damn decision. That's the honest truth, you know. So
Yeah, and
yep,
realistically, I feel like there's probably it's like oh, actually, you know, you get new people coming in and out, probably have an effect on those decisions, and things change as a result. I mean, I'm sure, yes, the leadership maybe up top stays basically the same, but you have different, I don't know, opinions or points
visions.
of views that come through and can help to change the direction a little bit. I mean, it certainly is not the same game now as what they were originally planning it to be. Right. So,
Okay. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, Easy. Was there anything else that you wanted to ask or like cover? I was just
well,
gonna
no, no,
double
no.
check
It was
this.
just stuff on the video, right? So like, and I guess we kind of beat that, but I guess my next
Yeah.
question would be, um, if this has the capability of doing all that scanning, then where does that put things like all the scanning ships based on your theory on this? Because that would render things like the tracker, the terrapin, which does nothing but scan. Um,
It's
like
supposed to go
what
to
does
like a
that do for
zero
those ships?
emission mode, right? That's
Yeah,
almost
it's supposed to
like
be the non-detectable scanning ship,
right. I
right?
mean, it's not there yet, obviously, but it's
Correct,
supposed to
but
No,
be.
that's
it's
what it's
That's the
there.
supposed to
intention.
be. Yeah.
This is what I mean. We're still too far away to have CIG know what they're doing in relation to the gameplay loop. Once base building's done, and the actual game itself is actually a game finally, because this is a base building survival game at the end of the day, right? With all these other elements tapped at the end of the base building, got to have water, food, tech, defense, model defense, research, exploration. It's a survival game. And yeah, it's not the FPS shooter that we all wanted back in the day, or it wasn't the, with Arena Commander, God. It's not the space shooter dogfighter game that we all wanted. It's become something much more evolved.
It's a sandbox
And we
universe.
are, yeah. And now we're getting destructive, was it called voxel based
is it
destruction on buildings.
Is it fair to say that evolution doesn't always move in a positive direction? Um,
Bishop, fair citizen.
also,
Hmm.
so I see no plan for exploration. That's what I'm curious about too. I can't help
Yeah.
but feel with the fact what is it, they're going to start with 5 systems now instead of 100. It feels like exploration. It, it it's going to be difficult to make that a thing. I feel like. I mean, unless the planets are truly diverse and have a lot of locations on them, there's not a whole lot to explore. It feels like now, right? And
I
what did
think
that
I
do
mean,
to
do you
right
remember?
now,
relationships?
I think
Yeah.
I think right now on the exploration front, um you get a little bit, I feel more comfortable or confident in that that's doable simply because I mean, if you've done the cave copian stuff recently, like outside of cheesing it and finding the 1 or 3 locations that are out there, you can actually find a bunch of hidden caves that actually
Yep.
have cave copian, but they're just out there. Nobody's putting out the information. The information, it isn't a POI you go to. It's like fly in this direction, facing this thing for, 180 kilometers, and somewhere here there's a cave and it's full of cave copian. Now,
Yep.
obviously, there's a bunch of other places. There are ones that are easier to find, like the one off of Opera, which is like 18 kilometers heading 60 or something like that. But if they do add rarer things in the game, in some of these caves that are in places in planets that we have not gotten to, there is a potential for exploration. The question
Well,
is, are we going to have a pinging system, a system to create a
they
POI for
need
ourselves?
yeah, they don't need rare things within these caves. They need caves that are rare to find in general, if that makes sense, right? I mean, these planets are not small, but
At
No.
all.
the
Agreed.
amount of locations it makes them feel small. Does that make sense?
The issue is
Right?
that there's no reason to explore the uncharted
Exactly.
locations
Yeah.
on that
There's
planet.
not
Yes.
because everything is basically charted because it's all the same
You
Well,
have
repeat,
waypoints.
right?
You have
The,
waypoints
yeah,
for that reason. Yeah.
you have waypoints, but in between those waypoints, there's nothing, right? It really is nothing, right? There's a couple of caves
well,
that we had to go out and find without a waypoint, but it's just incomplete, right? So it just feels like because of the state of that now, it feels like exploration it can't be a thing, but it's just because the lack of locations makes it feel small. Is the way I
well,
see it.
yeah, that's what I mean, right? Give it something. If you give people a reason to find something rare that's hidden that you can't find, people will explore for it, right? It
Hmm.
is the nature of an MMO, right? Give us something that somehow you hid around and people will go find it. I mean, I'll use
Oh yeah,
not tied
like
to this, but
weapons caches and things like that. Yeah.
Destiny would do stuff like that all the time. It took 3 years to figure
Mm.
out one of their puzzles, right? So it's the same thing is possible. It's just I just to your point, Elder, it's whether they're gonna give us the tools to then do anything beyond finding the cave, right? Like, can I sell that? Is it something that's worth selling? And then how can I tell somebody else how to get there and make it a trade? Can I trade the data? Like, what is exploration going to be ultimately, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
CIG have already made it very clear that there will be caves where players can set up a cache of weapons, ammo, blueprints, and all that kind of thing. That's going to be a big thing for you guys in piracy, right? So, yeah, if you are lucky enough to be a full-on, full-time explorer and you come across one of these caves, you can put down a marker, a personal marker on the map, which is supposedly what's meant to happen. You're meant to be able to put down like a spike, right,
Mhm.
marker in the ground, which has things off a digital ping to the location, just like when you leave your ship and come back to it, rah, rah, rah. And you can go away, bring back a Connie Taurus and some friends. Most explorers won't really have that many friends because exploring is, but yeah, contract, empty that cave out, get those blueprints, and just have gone to the guys you're contracting. Look, I'm going to pay you this, but whatever comes out of that cave is mine, and we have to agree on that. So it's trust and respect and ethical contractors in the verse, and obviously orgs that you're going to have to get those contracts with and have the money to pay for. Though
I remember the cards.
those situations are going to make you an overnight millionaire, right? Multi-millionaire
I can already
based on
see
those
how the I can
blueprints.
already see here spectrum, man. Ethical contracts. I can really hear Spectrum already.
Well, this is what I mean. And this is
Mm.
what I just done in my most recent video, not dropping my own content here. The community has to grow up,
You can drop your
and it
content. That's the whole
has
point.
to start. Oh, thank you guys. There needs to be a changing of the guard, right? The old childish, stupid bitch behavior, the salty mic behavior, it needs to end. Mature as a community before 1.0 or as of 1.0, because guys, being an org leader is so damn much more hard and so much more responsibility than anyone's currently taking on board right now. And that's in my personal experience, that they should be. That the org leaders aren't doing themselves, aren't doing the getting the experience, doing the best practice, reading stuff, learning stuff, practicing it with their management team. They're just going, oh, look, it's too early. Oh, we're not ready yet. And all these excuses. Yes, look, day one, 4.1 was literally Star Citizen for the first time I've ever seen it in my life. And I went, oh my God, this is butter smooth and everything just works. And oh my God, I'm having such an excellent time. Next day, went back to 3.2.5. I know, and that's because of a range of reasons. But you have to fight through these problems with your orgs, and you have to be making sure as an org leader, you know how to lead, you know how to delegate responsibility, hold meetings, set rosters, making sure that your staff below you are actually doing their jobs correctly and are trained up correctly as well, so they're autonomous to then be able to then teach other people stuff. And this is the whole thing. The community as a whole needs to cut the graft, right, and get on with the job. And that means ethics are going to play a massive part. If you have an org that is not ethical or has principles and follows through their promises, especially contractual ones, they're going to get bullied out of the entire community, right, by the rest of us. And that's just how it's going to happen, because there is going to be consequences. There is going to be money on the line. There are going to be people that just want to get on all they can.
I'm sorry, the audio is
That's
kind
going
of
to be your
cutting out there a
staff.
little bit.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's not
Yeah.
on your end. It's just trying to take in as much as we can without it like cutting out.
Yeah.
So
The comments.
I know that we're starting to kind of like get to our closing time. One thing I kind of want to like wrap up on a little bit there. Easy, was there anything that you want to add,
No,
or are you kind of like at a good stopping
no, no,
point
no. I
there?
think that was pretty
Okay.
much it. I think that at least that last part on growing the community, kind of changing and growing up a little bit. Yeah, I guess we may not agree on a lot, but I think we can agree at least on that. Some we can find some common ground there.
Hmm.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah,
Easy.
I'd like to start, just quickly, I'd like to start doing war games between piracy and other orgs. Play the game now. It doesn't matter. There's no consequences at this stage, especially this stupid item recovery crap.
I mean, if you're doing war games, I know one org you could do just host a racing event, and Griefernet will likely show up. That's a good one if
Yeah,
you want to do that.
no,
You know,
no.
it's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. They
Yeah.
never want to like do anything like OVO or anything like that. But yeah, just messing around.
Yeah. So if we could, actually have bigger orgs, not the biggest because they're useless. Honestly, they are. The medium to smaller orgs, right? Actually get together on a Star Citizen Discord. I don't care who hosts it. I don't care if CIG even hosts it, right? And if orgs want to do some war games, we can have a week's lead time, and then everyone puts out their ideas. The org leaders then pick up the baton and run with it, get their orgs ready, and they all meet on a certain date at a certain time that week to then meet up at the locations described, or interdict in, right? So the pirates can come in and drop in on that space. Yeah, guys, like, instead of everyone just being, oh, yeah, I don't want him to know my little secrets. Oh, I don't want him to know my little secrets. Let's just not worry about that. Let's just grow up. Let's go play the game and let's see how it plays out. Because theory crafting, as you were saying, right, but all everyone is saying today, it means jack shit compared to the actual practical application of playing Star Citizen. So if we can do the war games now as a community, right, all of us, then we can then adjust with the times, and then we can consult with each other whether we like each other or not at the end of the day as well, and go, hey, yeah, that could be better, or that should be better. Constructive feedback, not criticism. Criticism.
So I'm
I
sorry.
just,
When you
I'm
say
going to disagree with that because it is nice to have that unpredictable environment where you don't know who is a friend and foe. That is kind of the
that's what
beauty
I
of
was
like
gonna
Star
ask.
Citizen.
So is that what
You
you
know,
mean by war games, like pre-scripted, like meetings and stuff like that
No.
or
for
like
fighting,
planning
or
or OVOs, or what are you thinking?
Meet
That's,
us.
lost all of
There
it?
is. All right. So
it's okay. It's okay.
all right, we good now?
Yeah. No, you're
Yep,
good. You're
that's
good.
good.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So put it this way: event happening. Crusader, back a Crusader. Um, mystery shipment of minerals or whatever it is, right? Commodities. Heavily escorted delivery, high value, extremely high value cargo run. Free for all, attack. And we can then have an org set up, right? With not commodities, will be a rep run, obviously. I can even be the bait. I don't give a shit. I'm masterclass. I'll just the master mission and run it, and we can have 50 escort, 50 fighter escort, however you want to get from the back of Crusader to Microtech. And we've got interdiction on the way. We've got all of these other things, right? Then you can then force the ship into atmosphere to land on the ground, right? And then we can then turn that into a ground battle. It all depends on how effective the attackers are against the defenders by pushing that ship down to surface. So we can have some rules of engagement.
Yeah, some people might be down for OVOs, but not everybody's like always open for that. Sometimes people
Sounds
just
like
want
a
like
30K.
organic PvP, because sometimes if you get too many people in like one spot, all that's going to happen is it's a stutter fest. It's a PowerPoint,
Well, I
And
mean,
that's the problem with like
all right.
wanting
So
to
to be
host those
fair,
OVOs,
though,
right? Yeah.
But to be fair, I mean, you can't use the fact that it's going to be a Studderfest or whatever as part of the example. I agree with most of what you're saying, but as far as that goes, it's supposed to be organically. The game is supposed to function with no matter how many people are there, right? That's the way they're planning it. So let's putting that aside. I'm just not a fan of doing like these war games and stuff like that because it's still not organic in my opinion, right? Now, yeah, I mean, it can be enjoyable and like coming across those situations, but I want to see situations like that happening without, not because it's like, oh, here's a scenario, but rather because we found
We
out
flew into
what
each
the
other's like
scenario.
location by
Well,
accident.
no,
Yeah.
not even that. No, like, I mean, even we found out the scenario was, hey, these people are going to be running these materials and we want to try to get that from them. They don't know we're going to attack, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like that is more preferred for me. That's all I'm saying.
War games,
yeah.
war games are internal, right? War games would be something that you run inside of your org. That's you practicing. I mean, war games. War games.
No.
One second, because war games by nature is a way for two.
Well, yeah, okay.
The way that we use them now, right, is how you train without killing each other,
Yeah,
right?
but let's
It's
not
war
hold
games.
on. Yeah, but let's
But
not focus so much on the
No.
exact definition of it.
I know, no. I mean,
Focus more
I
on
know,
his
no.
intention of it.
I know.
So
What I'm saying is,
just
if you have the thing happening already, the event is happening, right? The natural cause of you having that many people amass at anything that has value is going to attract attention in Star Citizen. In Star Citizen, it is only a matter of time before we hear there are 30 people located at X or 40 people located at Y. It is only a matter of time before we hear that 40 people are together, not killing each other. Because
no. It's not about not killing each other. That's the whole thing. It's actually about actual war games. So in the real world, yes, especially on the ocean digitally battleship, right? About, because there are no consequences at this stage, actual war games. Kill the out of everyone you can. And I, kept sense
would you
about
say the Karenite
hard.
right now is not a goal? I'm just this is the
No.
the conversation, right?
No,
Karenite is not a goal right now.
Takeaway. None of it's takeaway. You're not going to keep it. Oh yeah, 1.0 hits and we lose everything. You're back to 5,000 UEC, UEC, not AUEC, starting. Anything now is just theory play, just a practice to get to know what you need to do to get started in 1.0. Yeah.
Okay.
So if we're playing war games now, where this is going to be set up on this day, yada yada, go kill, go, and do your
We're
best
going
to
down
internally
like a
train
rabbit
within your
trail.
teams.
Yeah.
We're very off topic, so I'm going to
Yeah.
stop right there if that's okay. Sorry, guys. And we are cutting like pretty close to like ending, so I'm sorry to say that. We're gonna cut it off. Okay, sorry, boys. Easy. You have a good night. We'll catch you later. Okay.
Yep.
I'll probably catch you in Discord
Later.
a little bit later. See you, bud.
See ya.
All right. Three factors that I just want to cover before we go is, with all this being said, whatever happens, few things to keep in mind is, piracy also is an unfinished gameplay loop. So scanning, so is everything else that we have, right? And then I was just kidding. Sorry.
That's a matter of
man.
perspective, my friend.
Yeah. No, you guys can if you want to hop in the Discord later, feel free to 1v1 it out. But interdiction will likely change. Pirates and PvPers alike, though, no matter what you do, I'm just going to say this, we're going to adapt, we're going to improve, we're always going to find, like, that's the one thing I got to say about PvPers especially, is they're always looking for, like, the meta, the best way to do things. So I got to be careful of that as well. Keep that in mind. So a lot of these ideas, whatever it might, end up looking in the end, is going to be always changing. Sorry.
I feel
To cut that
bad.
off
That
entirely.
that is
I'm dying.
dying.
Dying, yeah. Shit. Well, that's the whole
Getting
thing,
over
right?
a cold from 2 or 3 weeks ago. So my bad.
Oh man, not fun. It's not that flu that was going around.
No, something different.
Oh, thank God. But yeah, guys, at the end of the day, right, 1.0 is going to be 1.0. Anything prior to that is subject to change. Alpha,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
But when
Never get a game at
Right.
1.0.
so if we do this stuff in the meantime, we can then at least get the community to start playing against each other properly, start playing structured gameplay from your own side, each of you, learn how to win an argument. Everyone's like, oh yeah, we should do this, should do that. When push comes to shove, I watched a video. I'm sorry, Foxy Loxy, mate, but your video was horrific. That's a perfect example, guys. Check it out. It was a ground-based operation where they brought in Black Ops. Yeah, and Foxy Loxy's at the end having a cry about the Polaris killing and griefing them. Right, that's what I mean. Don't theory craft it, just do it. Make your dreams come true, right? So that's what I mean, guys. Let's start playing the game against each other and actually having a common point of interest to go to, or an enemy, a common enemy, or bait to try to kill, right? And keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And have a community Discord where we can all just jump on games, actual kill, and have finally. That's my argument finished.
Wait. Now I don't hear dead. Oh, okay.
Wait. No. Hang on. You got to turn my mic back on. It's on
No,
my end.
I can hear you. I
I'm
can hear
good.
you.
You're good. Okay.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, sorry, I lost my like.
And there's crickets again. Chirp, 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 chirp.
So I wish that we could do more than just theory craft with a lot of this stuff. I wish I could say, hey, let's look at the actual final product of what we have for like the Herald or like the Mantis or any like flushed out gameplay and say, hey, this is not actually going to work, or this is going to work. But that's just at the end of the day what it's really at. It's fucking placeholder. So it's what we get. And with that also being said, guys, go check out our guest on
So to be
YouTube
fair, by the way,
as well.
sorry, go ahead.
To be fair.
To be
for it.
fair, Five Finger, CIG probably consists of mainly Bobs. So who controls the game?
Bobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobs.
Okay.
But yeah, go check him out on YouTube, please.
Yeah. And thanks for
Right?
joining us for the conversation tonight, dude. I do appreciate your
No,
time. And I know we had a lot of
anytime.
tech issues, and we're still having tech issues, so appreciate your patience with that.
Yeah, it was a rough
Bloody
start.
Discord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a rough start today. So I think we started like 40 minutes late. So
Sorry, guys.
no, that wasn't your
that's
fault.
fine.
That was on us. It was well, I guess it was all of us realistically, but it took a little while to get set up. Plus I got onto the computer late too because I had to drop off my son. So
And then
sorry about that.
Also, like a brief reminder that tonight's episode will be on YouTube later this week. So make sure you guys go check it out. You can subscribe over there. And then we will catch you probably, I think, in about 2 weeks because we have Easter next weekend. So we'll have to catch you at another time. With that being said, good luck back in the world, griefers. We'll call it
Are
there.
we rating? Are we rating out?
Are we rating? Yeah, we're gonna rate out, and then you're just gonna leave it on this. This is what it kind of turns into now. He'll just leave it on this
We just stare at each other.
awkwardly. We'll just stare at each other and no 420 stream.
We all-
Okay, and just get out of here, Elder.
I'll go to the end screen and you guys can stare at the bar. Okay, guys.
We're gonna go. We're gonna raid first there.
Oh, we're gonna raid first. All right, we'll just stare at him then.
You can stare at him. I'm not doing that. You're just being weird tonight.
I'm actually looking at the wall.
Pretty.
Realistically,
really,
yeah.
You guys
yeah.
I can't.
Did we find something? All right. I
We did,
mean,
yep.
have a good night, guys.
I'd say,
Oh,
boys.
shit. Is the music working?
I'm done.